Hey there guys, what is going on? I just want to have a little talk about the AS VAL. Is it broken? Is it too much? Like, is it one of the best weapons in the game? Of course, we did our top 10 best weapons video the other day, the top 10 best guns in the game, and I ranked this number 3 on that particular list. If you haven't seen that already, make sure you do go check it out, but I mean, this is an interesting weapon in this game. Of course, people are usually drawn to higher fire rate weapons in these games, and that's all they're after, really. Like, they are after a high fire rate, as long as it does good damage. And you look at weapons and you see, like, this particular weapon, and you sort of compare it to something like the M13, which also does have a very high fire rate, and then you're like, well, why do people use the M13 if it has such a high fire rate? That's what you're talking about. But it's the combination of a really high fire rate and then that sort of actually acceptable damage level. Like, that's the real difference here. Like, there's the difference between having such a high fire rate. I think the M13 has, like, what, 1,000 rounds a minute fire rate, which is very, very high. And it's like a 4 to 5 shot kill at most opportunities, which is real bad. Like, the time to kill with that particular weapon at any sort of distance is real bad. But then you look at this weapon and you're like, well, is this weapon just AS, like, is the AS VAL just an M13? Or is it actually good? Oh, that poor man. And as you can probably tell there by how we were just ripping into those guys, oh, this weapon's a little strong. This weapon is a little strong. A lot of the complaints about the AS VAL were towards those 10 round mags, which basically you could just shoot through like the entire map and get loads of kills. But I don't know. It seems like the AS VAL has some problems with being a little bit too strong. But, I mean, the mitigating factor with most of these situations that you find yourself in with the AS VAL are that the recoil is a little janky. Like, the recoil is quite difficult to control sometimes, having a little bit of trouble speaking. But, I mean, the recoil is a little bit much sometimes, and the magazine's kind of small. But does that make up for such a high fire rate with actually decent damage? Well, it's... I feel like the recoil could be a little bit more. I'm not suggesting that they go out and nerf this weapon straight away, because it's a very fun weapon in this game. It does take a little bit of challenge to use this, but this weapon's probably erring on the slightly too strong side, in my opinion. I mean, with the right attachments, you get a very fast aim down sight speed and a great time to kill, fast fire rate. Easy-ish to control recoil. It's still not going to be like an absolute laser beam like some of the other weapons in this game, but I mean, it's not terrible either. Like, the accuracy on this is actually kind of acceptable, and it's usually worth it if you can control it because of such high damage. So, I mean, I would say that this weapon is a little bit strong. I would say that this weapon's a little bit strong, and they probably need to take a look at it, but I'm not sure they're going to. Like, honestly, I'm not sure that they're going to. They typically nerf these weapons towards the end, like the middle to the end of the season, like the mid-season update and stuff like that, mostly because people typically buy the tiers on the battle pass for the weapons. Like, they buy the extra tiers, like the early tier bonuses and stuff like that, for the weapons. They buy them for the weapons, the easy unlocks, like the faster unlocks on a lot of the weapons and stuff like that. So, I mean, people are paying for the weapons for the most part. I mean, I know they're not, but I mean, a lot of people do buy the battle pass so they can get the weapons faster. So, I mean, is it technically, like, not great? It's not great. Like, people are paying for these items in these games and stuff like that. I know they're free and everything, but I mean, if they're making them bad, why would anybody use them, or why would anybody buy them over the stuff that's already in the game? I mean, it's a little bit of a tricky situation that they find themselves in, because, I mean, balancing these weapons would mean them worse, and people have paid money for them. So, I mean, they'll probably find an acceptable level somewhere along the line, probably by making the recoil just a little bit harder to control, which would probably make this weapon more closely balanced than it is currently. Like, at the moment, it's way too strong. But, I mean, it would be closer, and then I think they'd probably leave it at that. I mean, they'd probably find a decent level of balance somewhere along the line and be like, yep, that's the acceptable level we're going to go at. Like, that's the level we're going to go with, because, I mean, they really only care about Warzone at this point. A lot of the development time and focus goes into Warzone, all the updates and stuff, the major stuff that happens goes into Warzone a lot of the time. So, I mean, this weapon isn't actually fantastic to my knowledge in Warzone. It's okay, like, it's an acceptable weapon, it does have that fast fire rate, but, I mean, having a low magazine and kind of difficult to hit shots with a Warzone weapon is not ideal. So, I mean, they'll probably just keep it the way it is, and people will be sad in multiplayer when this weapon's like forever broken, but it is what it is, I suppose. Alrighty, we Gucci. We got more bullets to fire. We back in the game, folks. We need those 2 more kills for that. Ooh, come on. Oh, that was convenient. Oh boy, that was something we should not have peeked. I should have figured there was going to be a lot of boys there, but we got the support healer, which, I mean, that's all we really cared about there. So let's try and get another one, I suppose. So the support healer does give us that close air superiority, which means it's very, very easy for us to move around this whole map and just be like, and just kill everyone. Which, I mean, that dude fired the first shot, so he realistically should have probably got that kill there, but he didn't because aim down sight speed, high fire rate. Yeah, this weapon's pretty good. Yeah, this weapon's pretty good. Move. Move. No, I should have turned around as soon as I saw that it was getting captured. Can we chuck that in there? I mean, those sort of distance, if you're trying to shoot somebody in that window there, I mean, like, look at the recoil. It's hard to hit shots from that far away, but if you can get closer, which you can in a lot of the multiplayer maps, like, a lot of the multiplayer maps don't have those big, long distances like we just saw there. Like, realistically, you're not fighting at those distances with this weapon. You just, basically, just shred people. But typically this weapon does remind me an awful lot of a weapon that's already in this game that was iterated differently in different Call of Duty games. The PP-19 Bison, the PP-10SH or whatever it was, I think, from Modern Warfare 3. Like, that iron sights look really similar. It does have that very fast fire rate. I mean, that's already in the game, so it's not that weapon. But it does remind me an awful lot of that, having a very fast fire rate and being kind of difficult to control. I mean, they're fairly similar. They're fairly similar in terms of actual design, regardless of whether or not they're actually the same weapon or not. Ooh, we got a little bit lucky there with the random recoil control bounce that we were given there. But we're still doing okay. We'll call in that ammo box again. But I feel like this weapon is pretty good. And that's the point of this video. This is probably too strong. I don't really expect them to nerf it too heavily, though. I don't think it's going to just, like, get absolutely dumpstered like they've done previously with some other weapons in this game. Like, it's good, but it is still hard to control at the end of the day, so I'm not sure that they're going to nerf it or anything like that too heavily. Like, I don't think they'll just be like, nah, this is the worst weapon in the game now, like they've done previously. But, yeah. Probably needs a tweak. Probably needs a little bit of a tweak. Alright, a couple of kills away from another VTOL, and we don't really want to peek that again. That was kind of risky. We'll call in the VTOL. They're back there again. My only other problem with this weapon is that ammo is really scarce for it, because it is the only weapon with the 9x39mm type in the game, so, I mean, it's kind of difficult to find ammo for this weapon, and that sort of is another mitigating factor. You basically run out of ammo for it, like, straight away. Come on. Especially when you miss shots like that. So you do actually need to run the ammo box to be able to get anything done, because if you do run that stopping power, I mean, you're never going to be able to hit your shots. Stopping power does increase your recoil on a lot of the weapons that you use it on, so it does increase your damage, but it makes shots harder to hit, so, I mean, it's a decent trade-off, but, I mean, adding extra recoil to a weapon that is already kind of hard to hit shots with is not good. Oh, no. No. Oh, I shouldn't have decided to reload there. I mean, we are going off on these kids, so, I mean, having another VTOL probably would have been a little bit cruel, and the game's over. So, hopefully we did point out that the AS VAL is, yeah, it's quite good, and, yeah. Anyway, guys, make sure you do hit that subscribe button if you have not already done so. Check this man out. We got one. We got that too. Oh, he comes back into the room. Hit that reload. Oh, man, look at that. Straight up. 3 kills. Goofy. 46 and 12, not too bad. We did make everybody in the lobby leave. Anyway, as I was saying, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not already done so. I do very much appreciate it. It does very much help me out, and I will, of course, see you in the next video. Bye!